Who in here has felt like they are less important than someone else? Who in here has felt like they are more important than someone else? My name is Max Harris, and I'm going to teach you all a little about what it means to be elite. Every, Everyone ever has felt both of these ways at some point in their life. It may be cliche, but Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos weren't always the richest people on the planet. At one point, they weren't among the elite. The word elitism may sound a little evil at first, and don't get me wrong, it definitely can be. If you look up synonyms for elitism, you get things like arrogant, haughty, egotistic, and so on. Not great words to characterize as, right? Well, it's not quite so simple to just say, well, I'm not going to be an elitist because I'm nice to people. Well, that's all well and good. That's not the point we're actually talking about today. What we're talking about is how elitism affects everyone everywhere. Whether you realize it or not, it does. While it may be hard to hear, every celebrity that we all love is a part of the elite class, and therefore participates in elitism. Whether they do so on purpose or not is irrelevant. They all get advantages and reap the rewards of elitism. Being recognized is a form of power in today's world. Alfred Archer, a chief social philosopher in the Netherlands who has studied how populations function, writes, "The rise of celebrity politicians such as Donald Trump and Vladimir Zelensky has led political theorists and commentators to worry that the role of expertise in democratic politics has been undermined." He goes on to discuss how the role of celebrity and being an elite can give you power to interact with political power in ways that maybe are unprecedented. As we're here today, we are taught to follow the leader. If someone is successful, the general population is taught to follow in their footsteps, and you can be successful too. Often, the people we choose to mimic are of the elite class. This can be a good thing, but also a very bad thing for people. In a study conducted on law students in 1991, the following was concluded. Examine the adjustments of these law students to an elite law school environment where they experience a class stigma which creates identity problems like other individuals who experience stigma. These students learn to hide their class background in order to manage their identity. The reason I bring this up is because I want to make it obvious that trying to act like an elite or even follow in the footsteps of the elite is a dangerous game in managing your own identity. We are all justified in wanting to be successful, but not at the cost of losing our own identity in the process. We spent a lot of time talking about the top of the social food chain and how we relate to them. Let's look at the other side, homelessness. In a study done by Affordable Housing Finance, they found the report gauges that the odds of experiencing homelessness in the course of a year are about 1 in 200 for the general population. At or above the poverty line, the odds fall to 1 in 25. This may be very scary, but I want to show how there is a fair chance that someone we meet at Trine will fall victim to homelessness at some point in their lives. Or it could be ourselves. I'm trying to paint a picture for you all. Elitism is a force that affects every class, and guess what? Everyone in this room is stuck somewhere in the middle of elite and rock bottom. This is my way of telling you not to act like a snob. I know it may be easy to see a homeless person and avoid eye contact or pretty much just act like they don't exist. That in and of itself is a form of elitism. You are acting like another human doesn't even exist because their life is perceived as less important than yours. I'm not trying to blame everyone in this room. While I was reading through all these articles about the psychology behind elitism, I noticed that I myself am a perpetuator. Take for example this. Why do we want to wear luxury brands? Because it looks good maybe? Or to show that we have the money and elite status to afford that lifestyle? K1 Kim writes, wearing luxury brands can either benefit or backfire, depending on the situation whether luxury status or warmth is necessary. This article discusses the mentality behind wearing luxury brands in an attempt to portray oneself as elite. I wonder if anyone in this room can confidently say that they don't do anything to show themselves as elite compared to someone else. Elitism isn't the worst thing in the world. I mean, it is terrible and evil to think of someone as less than you because you are more famous or more rich. But elitism has its benefits. Well, maybe more accurately, having an elite class has its benefits. If those that are elite are worthy of the title and represent the people in a way that is just, I believe there is a great way there's a great value in that. In an article titled Anti-Elitism Revisited, Sartori writes, perhaps no form of government needs great leaders so much as democracy does. This may seem counterintuitive, but he goes on to explain how democracy needs a common voice to rally behind, or we will be stuck in a situation similar to the one we are currently in, a nation divided. There's always a benefit by having a unifying voice, but what is scary and certainly something to watch out for is when that voice is one that is not qualified to speak for everyone and is merely successful by elitism. I think I've talked enough. So to conclude, I want to restate my points and how to deal with elitism in your own life. We talked about how elitism impacts politics and how popularity shouldn't be any sort of factor in that realm. We talked about how elitism can be a good thing when those who are elite don't act arrogant and are worthy of having title of elite. Most importantly, we talked about elitism in our own lives and how we perpetuate the social hierarchy. My advice to you is to treat everyone as humans. Obviously, those below you on the social food chain, but also those above you, are only human. Looking up to people who are genuinely good is great. Everyone should look for a role model in life. My advice is two things. Act as someone worthy of being looked up to, and remember that everyone above and below you is just as much human as you are. That is how you can be elite. Thank you.